Okay, you're recording.
This is
Or
the
it's
Parks
recorded.
Committee meeting of Monday, April 17th. Time now is 7:03. My name is Debbie, and Janice Wilcox is here too. She's the chair. How do I share the screen? It's not me. Can you guys see the screen, the agenda?
Yeah.
Yes. All right, we're gonna begin. It's now 7:04. Okay, we're gonna begin the Parks and Recreation Committee meeting. Okay. Go ahead, Debbie.
Okay, who's here from the Parks Department that's gonna be doing, hold on. Yeah, who here is doing the presentation part?
That's me, Rucha Mandlik.
What was the name?
Rucha Mandlik
Okay.
from QRP.
Okay, all right. So we're gonna review the meeting minutes. And let's see if I can move this slide. Can you all see the meeting minutes on your screen?
Yes, we can.
Okay.
Yes, we can.
Okay, last month's meeting minutes, we were talking about Zimmerman's Playground and the redesign of that. We have the projected budget, the size, and the accommodations. All of this is available online if you wish to look at it at your own time. But I know this meeting's gonna be action-packed of what they got for the presentation here. So let's start getting ready to turn it over to Rucha, you said?
Rucha, yes.
Okay. All right, let me stop sharing my screen.
Okay.
Okay, and now Rucha, you can share your screen.
Thank you. Can you all see my screen?
Yes, we can.
Yes, we
Okay,
can.
so
In-person meeting. We're looking for the in-person meeting.
The in-person meeting is in the board office.
41, right?
Excuse me?
1741.
Golden Avenue.
Yes.
I'm right here, but nobody's answering
Uh,
the door.
You see the sign that says go to the Morris Park door?
Yes.
Go to the Morris Park door.
Come around the corner,
I don't know where that is. Around the corner?
around
Yes.
the corner.
All right. Thank you.
Who is that?
Sounds like that's from. I'm sorry, Rucha.
no problem. Hi everyone, good evening. My name is Rucha Mandlik. I am a landscape architect at Cornell Rothschild and Partners, and we are the landscape consultants for the Parks Department for this particular project. With me from my office, I have Crystal and Crystal Zing, and also Kevin from Parks. Kevin Horgan from Parks is here. So let's get this started. This project is,
Hold on a second, Rucha.
yeah,
When we have a meeting, there's only one voice, okay? One mic, please, okay? Thank you. If someone on the screen is speaking, we should give them that respect, okay? All right, go ahead.
Continue.
all right. Okay, so this is Pelham Parkway Plaza seating areas, and the total budget for this project is about 5 million. And the goals are really to create new seating areas and pathway connections, upgrade site furnishings and paving wherever necessary, preserve historic character of the mall, and align this project with the overall goals of the master plan.
2 minutes.
So for this project, we have selected two sites. Site number A is at between Wallace Avenue and Mulliner Avenue, and site B is at Seymour Avenue near Jacobi Hospital. Both sites are well served with playgrounds and other recreational facilities within walking distance. In terms of land use, as you all know, it's mostly residential, and both sites are out of the flood zones. A little bit about the Pelham Parkway Mall's history is that you all know they stretch from Bronx Park to the west to Pelham Bay Park to the east. They're about 2.5 mile long, and the malls were built in the 1900s, and slowly development started happening around the malls, mainly residential, some mixed use. A subway station came in 1917, and some other facilities. These are some of the elements that were identified in the conceptual master plan. Things like vast lawns, outcrops, and beautiful allays of trees and heritage trees can be seen throughout the malls, which in this design we studied, and we're trying our best to preserve these elements. Again, about the allays, elm trees were planted along the westbound lanes, and linden trees were planted along the eastbound lanes. Some of these trees still exist today. There are some beautiful heritage trees and groves throughout the malls. And this is the conceptual master plan, which was done by the Parks Department, of which Phase 1 was finished in 2017. Phase 1 went from White Plains Road to Wallace Avenue, and it included a small gathering area with seating and a new bikeway. And of course, lots of planting. So last year we came to you, we came to the community in November. We held a virtual meeting, and then online feedback was also collected. And there were really three important things that came from that outreach process. Number one, people wanted was to preserve the trees, plant more trees, and preserve the landscape and historical character of the malls. People also wanted to have minimize new paved areas, and there were some concerns about security and maintenance um, along the malls. So we studied all those comments. We sort of tabulated the comments, and then we have tried to incorporate that into the two sites that we have selected for this project. Now, a quick walkthrough of the existing conditions. This is going from Wallace Avenue to east. You have some vast lawns and some beautiful shaded spaces, but as you can see, paving in some places is in poor condition. There are some bare spots on the lawns. Again, here the paving is in not so good condition along the pathway. So this is a existing conditions analysis. And from here, you can see that there are beautiful views from almost everywhere on the malls. And some things that we can improve are these vast lawns that are in poor condition. They have some bare spots. Then pathways, both that connect the two seating areas and also at the seating areas can be improved. The L-shaped seating area with benches, that's also in a poor condition. This part of the site is going from Bronxwood Avenue to the next crossing near Lurting Avenue. And there too, this pathway is not in a very good condition. We also studied the existing trees in detail. And as you can see, the trees are old, they are big, and they're beautiful. Their critical root zones are almost everywhere. And in terms of species, you have some linden trees, some big elms, oaks, and pines. The next part of the path, next part of Site A is also nicely shaded with big old trees. And in terms of species, here you have more oaks and zelkovas and a few apple trees. So this is really the scheme for Site A. First part is the seating area at Bronxwood Avenue. As you can see, you have this existing outcrop. So what we're suggesting is that widening the existing pathway a little bit and sort of curve it around this outcrop and then add lots of seating, benches. There'll also be a drinking fountain and some trees, planting some more flowering trees to match the landscape on site. To the south, near Mulliner Avenue, we are mostly keeping the same arrangement of benches, but we'll be building this path new. It will have hex block paving and it will be basically reconstructed into the same place because we have these beautiful old trees, so we can't disturb them a lot. And then again, we are adding, sort of filling in trees and adding some flowering trees, which I can show you on the next page, which is the planting diagram. So as you can see on the planting diagram, we are adding a few more trees at Bronxwood Avenue to provide shaded areas on this plaza. And at Mulliner Avenue seating area, we are filling in the allays where trees are lost. So we are putting the trees back, we are planting them back. So you have a linden here, you have 2 elms here, and then couple more flowering plants, trees. We are also rebuilding the 2 new pathways. First one that goes from Wallace to Bronxwood, and the second one that goes from Bronxwood to the next crossing. And there too, we are basically widening the pathway wherever we can safely in terms of trying to protect the trees. And we are adding sparse benches along the pathway. And again, wherever the LA trees are missing, we are sort of replacing them with new ones. So on the next page, you can see, since this lane was originally planted with elm trees, we're going to replace the missing elms back on site. Now this another area, as you can see in the key plan, is the big vast lawn that you have to the south, between Wallace and Mulliner Avenue, which we are going to restore to its historic character, or like have the restoration of the landscape is the focus in this area. So we are removing the existing benches, the L-shaped benches and paving, and reconstructing that lawn. And also again, adding lots more trees, filling in the allays, like these are all linden trees. And also introducing some new species that are hardy, that are native, and that could be future heritage trees. So this is our scheme for the landscape restoration of this area. Also, wherever the lawn is not in a good condition, has bare spots, we'll spruce that up as well, reconstruct that basically. Now, this site will need a DEP permit and stormwater permit because there are a lot of utilities that are going underneath. So we have to consider those. On to the next site, which is at Seymour Avenue. I'm sure you guys are familiar with these photos. This is the path that goes from the hospital. Yeah, this goes from the hospital to north. This is when you're standing on top of that landscape and looking over the path. This is also the same picture. There is a bench right now which is not in a very good condition. The pathway itself is not in a good condition. There is a desire line, meaning that people want to cross directly from the crosswalks and come onto this pathway. It's from another angle here. So basically, these are the things that we studied in the existing conditions. So this is that desire line I was just showing you. This is the existing pathway, which is in poor condition. And also, it's not ADA accessible. It's pretty steep. But the site has beautiful views. And in terms of trees, again, it has grove of pine trees, and this over here is a beautiful pin oak, as you can see in the planting diagram. So we considered all of this and we came up with a scheme where we are providing an ADA accessible wider path, which people can use to go from Pelham Parkway South all the way to the north. And the existing, in the location of the existing asphalt pathway, we're still giving an option for people who want to just cross over quickly onto the other side. But for those who want to just walk at their own pace or sit here and enjoy the view, there is an option to do that. In terms of planting, again, we are filling in the LA trees and also adding in some flowering trees to frame those beautiful views of the landscape. Up north, we are also adding these elm trees that are missing from the historic alley of trees. In the middle island between the two paths is going to be low ground cover planting and some flowering shrubs. So in terms of planting, we are looking at oaks and maples and elms and lindens, which are sort of selected in the conceptual master plan. And these are really the historic trees that were used in the malls. And for smaller trees, we're using cherries and dogwoods, crabapple, and some flowering shrubs and interesting ground covers that provide interest throughout the year, summer, spring, fall. And in terms of site materials, site furniture, again, we are sort of matching every material, be it paving, game tables, light poles, benches, water fountains, to what's done in phase 1 to have that continuity. And that's it. That's the presentation. Do you have any questions?
Beautiful. Yeah, hold on one second. You got any questions?
No.
With the area of Site B, you were saying it was out of a flood zone? Was I correct in the beginning when you were saying it's not in a flood zone?
So there are like a few different diagrams I can show you. Are you talking about the south corner of Seymour Avenue?
Yeah, by Seymour Avenue.
Yeah. Yeah.
That very much seems to be very flood prone.
Right. We heard that in the community meeting as well. So as you can see, this map over here is coastal. And for coastal, it's completely out of the zone. For stormwater, moderate flooding, it's out of the zone. But when it rains a lot, when there's extreme flooding event, then yes, it is in that. And we think that we could improve the grading in that area. And by adding a lot of planting might help with the flooding issue.
Okay, and the second thing also in that area, how are you changing the grading from Jacoby to the rest of Pelham Parkway? with that outcropping? How are you changing the grading to make it more ADA compliant?
So near the outcrop where the existing pathway is, we are not changing the grading on this path. It's going to be pretty much the same. But we can provide a smoother ADA accessible path on the other side, which is easy to grade. So
Okay,
this path over here, which is the wider path, is the ADA accessible path.
so that's what you will make. That's not what's existing there.
That's correct. Existing, you just have this straight path, which is not ADA accessible.
Right.
It goes over a hill. So we are providing an optional path, which is ADA accessible, which so it basically feels like a proper seating area crossing from one south to north.
Okay. Anybody from the board have any questions?
I did have a question. I believe it was on site A, there was discussion of removing some benches. I missed whether or not there's a plan to replace benches that are removed. The L-shaped? I think it was in site
The
A.
L-shaped benches.
I think it was from Mulliner.
I think so, yeah.
Mulliner to.
Yeah, right there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we are going to be removing these benches again to match with what was done in phase 1, to add more to the landscape.
So there is no plan to replace seating somewhere else?
Well, we are redoing these areas and we are adding more benches to Seymour Avenue as well.
Yeah, but
That's a long way.
And Wallace
Yeah, that's a
are
long
over
way.
a mile apart.
Yeah.
Over a mile apart. And I know in the area by Wallace, because it's heavily residential, because it's heavily residential to apartment buildings and such, and the train, that's very widely used by elderly, middle-aged, or even children for that matter, sitting. So I would really ask that you would reconsider removing. Replacing, okay, removing, not so good. Christine, anything?
No, I agree. There should be some sitting, allowed in those spaces.
We'll consider that.
Okay,
Board members online.
okay, which board members are online? Cause I can't see everybody.
Participants.
Yeah.
Can I see the?
Chun Chun, are you there?
Yes, I'm here. I'm here.
Do you have any questions?
So when do we plan to start the project?
Kevin, do you want to take that one?
Yeah. Hi. This is Kevin Horgan. I'm the project manager at the Parks Department and Capital Projects, working with QRP on this design. And right now, the design is basically it's unfortunately it's not a quick process, but the design we're planning on getting completed by the end of this year. And then there's a procurement period that is anywhere from 9 months to a year, and then there's probably about a year of construction, a year to 18 months of construction. So it's probably from start to finish, it's like 3 to 4 years probably from design to built project.
How many phases are you going in?
It's all going to be done in one phase. it's up to the contractor to a certain extent in terms of how they stage the project. There are two separate sites. They not, they may end up doing one area first and getting that completed and then going on to the other, but that's but essentially it's going to be one 12 to 18 month period of construction for the two sites.
How much disruption for the people in the area will there be? I mean, in terms of getting to mass transit, which is very close to that area. Do you guys having any idea, like, are you going to be closing off areas that are normally open to access?
Well, yeah, we'll have to we'll have to close off the areas like the biggest there'll be a time when they won't be able to cross from Helen Parkway South to the north at Mulliner, because at that exact crossing, because they'll be constructing in that area. So they'll need to, the contractor basically, when they start work, they basically own the site during construction. So they, for safety reasons and liability reasons, they, there'll be construction fencing up that will not allow, so folks won't be allowed to go into certain areas, but certainly there's going to be some, we're not closing down the whole site, and there'll be other options for getting to public transit and other places, but they won't be able to, and same thing with Seymour, that'll have to be shut down at some point while they do the work. So they'll have to get at Seymour, they won't have that access from Jacoby North for time.
Okay, Harry, are you online?
Yes, I am.
Do you have any question?
The same thing that Cynthia said about the benches. They're gonna take the benches out and replace them with new ones. That's the only thing I got.
Yeah, so
Okay.
I wanted, can I just make another comment about that? Because I know, that was a concern with we don't want to lose seating. We took the opportunity of, this L-shaped, very awkward seating area. It kind of disrupts that whole historic character of the mall in that area, and we wanted to bring that back to more green, and we are adding, and we can look at maybe adding a few more, but one of the things we at both at Mulliner and Bronxwood, that crossing, we are widening that area, and we are adding a few more benches. I don't know whether it's one for one. I haven't haven't looked to see how many benches are, but at that L-shaped. But we're really making an attempt to bring that. We did hear, wanted to green up the space and have not as much. Paving was, didn't want to increase the paving. We thought that this was a good alternative to increase the paving where there's existing pavement. We didn't want to open up put the new paving where there's existing lawn or existing green space. So that's kind of what we were thinking when we during this design process. So there are a few more benches in these two areas that will be more visible also with lighting. So we thought that was a good way to add some benches to the area.
Thank you. Malcolm, are you online?
Hey, I'm here. I guess the only question that I have is that, will there be space for like community programming in any type of way?
What sort of community program were you?
Like, let's say like if a community-based organization wanted to like have an event, or anything like that at the space, would there be availability for that in any type of way?
I can answer that, Kevin. Hi, this is
Okay,
Mike
thank you.
Gonzalez from Parks. We don't really program the parkway in that sense, as of now, but as you can see in the box here shown number 1, the path is significantly wider to allow for perhaps future gatherings, but as of this moment, we don't really allow programming on the parkway in that sense.
Yeah, Malcolm, really in that area, it's only like flower planting, tree planting, gardening type events, besides kids playing and stuff like that. A couple of years back, they took away the National Night Out off of the Parkway because it's really unsafe to be having any large community type events on there besides it damaging the area. Okay, Serena, are you online? Serena?
I am. I'm online. I didn't have any questions. Thank you.
Miguel, are you online?
I am. I have kind of a different question. The trees that are going to be planted or replaced, how mature are they going to be? Are we going to have to wait 25 years for them to really? Are they going to be little seedlings, or if you could answer that, that'd be great.
Well, they're going to be a good size trees, as you can see in phase 1, the new trees that have been planted. But yeah, it will take them some while to grow into strong ones.
But they'll be more than seedlings. They're going to be fairly
Yes,
large. They
yes.
could be about a 3.5 to 4 inch caliper potentially starting off. That's generally what we plant for new trees.
And speaking of what you tend to plant for trees, who exactly can we reach out to if some of these trees are damaged and vandalized? Because I've seen in this community board, other community boards, you put trees in, they get damaged either by vandals or by vehicles, and you could put all the 3-in-1s in till the cows come home and the trees are still there damaged. So who would we reach out to for these trees?
I can take that. If it's a dangerous immediate concern, just I'm always available. Felix is the new park manager. He jumped on the call today. He took over from Matt. But please, if it's something that's a dangerous condition, just get in touch with us right away. You can either call the borough commissioner's office or reach out to Felix or even to our forestry office directly. The reason why we request that you put things the reason why we request you to put in these concerns into 301 is because that's how our tree service requests are generated normally. So if you call us, we'll let forestry know and they'll put a 301 in for you. So if you can just jump to that step, that would be very helpful. The reason why some of those trees that you see that are down necessarily haven't been addressed yet is because they're working off of a tree risk management program where basically they address the conditions that are most dangerous first. And if something is down on the ground and it's not dangerous, they'll probably leave it for a while they tend to something more dangerous first, rather than just trying to get to trees right away and missing something that's in immediate danger. So that's where that's kind of the drawback of that program. But at the same time, it ensures that they address those dangerous conditions first.
Okay, how long is your timeline of leaving a tree down? Because there's trees that I know that I've reported early COVID and they're still down.
You want to send me a list and I can touch base with our forestry director on that? Definitely. Thank you.
Any other community board members online that I have not caught? Chun Chun, you raised your hand?
Yes. Yes, I actually thought about a question. Are we gonna adding more trash cans? Because this morning I was running over in the park and I see a lot of litterings, and I think that it's a really big issues that happen, and it's just so shame that we don't have enough trash can. especially like there's a lot of dog, and then they pick up, like the dog owner pick up trash, and it's just like it's just like it's just really hard to find a trash can. So is there a plan that we're gonna add more, especially in the sitting area, because people are gonna picnic? Yeah, is that more a plan for that?
Yes, definitely. We will be adding more trash cans at all the 3 seating areas.
Okay, thank you so much.
Serena. Serena?
I'm sorry, Chun Chun inspired me. I do have a question in regards to the pathways. Are they going to be solely for pedestrians, or will they be for bikes as well as maybe scooters and things of that nature? I see people asking that in the chat, and I just wanted to bring that up.
That also came up in the community meeting and the online outreach that we did. So since this pathway is very close to these big trees, we're sort of limited into how much we can widen it. But definitely wherever possible, we're going to widen it a little bit so it could be used by both pedestrians and bikes.
Now, when you're saying bikes, are you talking about the motorized e-bikes or these gasoline bikes? Or are you talking little Johnny and Sally on their bicycle pedaling?
Not really, not the motorized bikes. I think they should go on the street. If safety wise, I would think.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Now I'm gonna start asking questions of the public here. Bob, you have your hand raised?
I'd like to make a statement first.
What?
Okay, I was not allowed into the first scoping meeting of this because I would not sign or I would not agree to Park Department terms, and it went up to the commissioner's office, okay? I don't understand why you had a private meeting rather than presenting to the community board first. I was on community board 8 when we did the Putnam Trail. And when I moved here, I was put on the Pelham Parkway Task Force by the supervisor at DDC because of my experience on the Putnam Trail and in Community Board 8 as Vice Chair of Traffic and Transportation. Also, while on the Pelham Parkway Task Force, there was supposed to be 323 trees planted. From what I'm seeing, all those trees weren't planted. If you're going to have to plant more trees, there shouldn't have to be more trees planted if they were all planted. Were all the trees planted that were promised when the sewer line was put in and the work was done on the island where trees were cut down? Were all of those trees planted? That's number one. Number two, where did the $5 million for this project come from? Because that task force, the Pelham Parkway Water Main Project, was $139 million. So those are two of my questions.
Mike.
Hey, Bob. I'm gonna find out about the trees. I'm sorry, I don't have that information, but I'll follow up with you on that. I'm making a note of that now. And what was your second question about the budget? Where did it come from?
Where did the $5 million come from? Was that a councilmatic grant or was it from Parks? Because I know the Bronx Parks Department doesn't have a penny to its name.
It was the councilmatic allocation.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Hello, Mike, can you hear me? Hi, Mike.
Hi, yes.
Hi, this is Sandra Gallo, founder of Friends of Pelham Parkway. We've been holding cleanup events in the parkway for over 7 years now. I would first thank Parks for sending out the email notifying people of this meeting. Also, I'd like to thank Parks for listening to a lot of input that was done in November's community meeting. So I'd like to thank you first. Regarding Seymour, I agree that should be ADA accessible because a lot of people who leave the hospital wheelchair bound with canes, a senior, they have to cross to the westbound 12 bus to Fordham Road. So thank you for that. But my question is, by making that alternative ADA accessible route, will you be replenishing the old route with greenery, or will it still be 2 routes now instead of 1? That's my question.
You are right. There will be 2 routes. We are still keeping the route that's a direct route, which you have right now. So that will still be there. We're just reconstructing that with new asphalt. And the second route is obviously a new one, the ADA accessible one. So yes, you'll have both routes.
And my question is, and I'm not stuck with her, it's just a suggestion, it's up to parks. Would you consider just making it one route instead of having two routes? Because they're gonna
So,
be like apart from
yeah.
each other.
Yeah, this is Kevin. I can jump in here. We looked at whether we wanted just the one route. We knew that we needed to have ADA accessibility. So we have this roundabout route so that we were able to get the grade, work with the grade to get it ADA. But we thought that if we didn't put in that existing path in the general same location, that it would become a dirt path because it is a direct route, and people that are in a hurry would just we feel would not go that circuitous route. They would just cut right through to get the quickest way from point A to point B. So we felt that rather than have this dirt path that came a desire line, as you saw in an earlier photo, there's a current desire path. We're trying to avoid that, and we are providing still providing a lot of greenery and green with the middle area and surrounding the whole space. So that was our thinking behind it.
Thank you for the explanation.
Sure.
Yeah, there are bus stops near this area, so people will cut across anything to catch the bus.
Understood. Well, I thank you for that because based on your state controls report, ADA accessibility has been lacking in Parks property, and I thank you for that, considering that it's a direct route to Jacoby Hospital, which is heavily used by residents in the Bronx. So thank you for that. Now going to Wallace to Williamsbridge Road. My main concern there is widening the path. Unfortunately, I don't know how NYC Parks was able to permit e-scooters into our greenway without having a public hearing, because usually when parks change the rules, they have to go through the MOE park hearing rules when they change rules. So for some reason, they allowed the e-scooters, the rented ones, into the parkway. That opened the Pandora box. Because of that, we have motorcycles, dirt bikes, e-bikes, even ATVs on the parkway. And that has caused lots of issues with seniors, children. We had many incidents, and unfortunately, it hasn't reached the headlines because no one died. Someone has to die before it reaches the attention of the powers that be and the media. But there have been instances that I have myself recorded from residents where people had to go to the hospital because they were either a direct hit by an e-scooter or spooked by an e-scooter and they fell and and I'm talking about seniors, and they had to go get a CAT scan to make sure they didn't have any blood clots as a result of their fall. So my main concern is because right now the path is fine. The only thing, this reason we have a problem with the path, especially on Seymour, you have a big pothole on Seymour that needs to be covered up. We should be fixing the pathway from Seymour all the way to, I think White Plains was redone, to Wallace. But to widen it, and this always seems to be that when it's from White Plains, from Wallace to Bronxwood, where the 92 people live, we always get more cement. We don't get greenery, we don't get trees, we just get more and more asphalt. I'm asking you to reconsider not widening it because we have enough ample, sufficient width of that park pathway or walkway for cyclists, for pedestrians, for children play. I can send you pictures later on. I was just asking you to fix all the potholes from Wallace all the way to Seymour, especially Seymour. It has a big pothole. And there's temporary asphalt. That's temporary. It gets worn out very quickly because it's heavily used by athletes and running clubs and cyclists. So please reconsider not widening it, please, guys. I really think, but otherwise, I think you really took your input from the last meeting, and I really thank you for that because community input is very important. We know how best this parkway is used. I know not all designs work the same in every community. I know my community, because as a Friends of Pelham Park, we hold events for 7 years long. We talk to residents. We are very involved in our community, so we know how the community operates. Unfortunately, one of the bad elements in our community is people using too many electrical vehicles, motorcycles, and because Pelham Parkway Main Road they reduced the speed to 25 miles per hour. Now they're using Greenway as a shortcut. And because of the reconstruction that has reducing the lanes, the Pelham Parkway Reconstruction Phase 2 project, now people again are using the Greenway as a shortcut. So I'm trying to say that we're putting our residents, our pets, children at risk. I think we should not widen this pathway, and I thank you for your time. And I look forward to having further discussion about this project because this presentation was not provided to us in advance, and we need more time to look at it carefully. I thank you again. Thank you.
Thank you.
We're gonna be limited to 2 minutes, so, anyone else that's speaking, remember, we got a 2 minute, we'll be here all night.
Hold on a second, I'm gonna time. You want me to time them?
Yes,
Can you do a 30-second warning?
I'll give it to you.
Go.
Hello, my name is Pedro Gutierrez. I've been living in the community for the last 5 years. I bought an apartment in Matthews 2165. The way that the community has deteriorated is impossible, and she hit it head on. That electrical bike, is gonna connect bad elements into the neighborhood. You guys don't. I'm a little younger than many of you here, as you can see. And I've made a lot of mistakes in my life. And I've seen this type of stuff open up horrible mistakes. What you guys are gonna do is gonna bring a gang war that's already happening with we already know who it is. Strongly reconsider this e-bike lane thing, strongly. This is not good. And also, wait, I'm gonna talk to you later.
Okay. 30 seconds.
Not even, it's the gangs from around here, the AB boys and everybody else around here.
Okay.
But how do they use the parkway?
Huh? What's going on? He's done?
It's gonna connect, that parkway is gonna connect those boys. And they're gonna go at each other, and those benches and those beautiful ideas you have, they're gonna become hangouts and murder scenes. That's what's gonna happen.
So you don't want the seating in that area? Is that what you're saying?
I'm very concerned about the seating in that area as well. It's gonna become a hangout. We're gonna see people, I'm already seeing vagrants. We walk, she sees me walking every morning,
Yeah,
every night.
Friends on parkway.
I see it every day, and it's deteriorated worse and worse. All we see is drunks, people sleeping there. I've seen horrible things, and I got videos on my phone of me helping people, women in particular, because there was creeps around. So even those seatings are very concerning to me.
Exactly, that's right.
Extremely concerning. Why don't we fix what is already messed up before we start planning anything else? Regarding the trees, how about some after-school programs for these boys? The summer's about to get here. Do you know what's gonna happen when this sun comes out and hits 90? All these boys, that's all they're gonna be doing. None of them. Put them in after-school programs. You want somebody to take care of the plants? The kids can do it. What happened to those after-school programs? And the kids could do the inserts for the trees. You guys could save a ton of money if you guys teach these kids and get them out of the street.
Thank you.
Okay, what's the time? All right.
Do you wish to speak? Do you wish to speak?
Okay.
Diana?
Sure. Hi, everybody. I still have questions about the Greenway path running east-west along the north side. Are you going to be like repaving it, smoothing it, digging it up and fixing the underneath, which is the cause of a lot of the potholes and cracks? And will you take care of it all the way to Stillwell? Along a lot of it, because it is narrow, there is a desire path where the runners run alongside. They don't run on the path because there isn't enough room even for, a couple strolling on the path, maybe a family with their kids, and then runners coming by. So clearly already the area is not big enough for the way that people use it. So I just want to know, now that we have this opportunity to really upgrade the entire malls, will you take care of the Greenway, which connects all the way from Bronx Park East all the way through to Orchard Beach? It's a greenway that a lot of cyclists use, especially in the warmer months, as a throughway. So I just would like to know, are you going to paint a line down the center with the figures on either side, separating the cyclists from the pedestrians? How are you going to maximize the use of the greenway? Because it is part of the Bronx-wide greenway system.
Hi, yeah, this is Kevin Horgan Parks. I can kind of talk a little bit about this. So we looked at we heard everyone's concerns about the bikeway and how it was deteriorating. So and we actually were originally focusing on just between Wallace and Mulliner or Bronxwood, and we heard the concerns at the visioning session that that this was a priority. So we looked at trying to see how much further we could go with the bikeway. So that's why we ended up making it to Lerting, to that a little bit further than Bronxwood. Unfortunately, there is budgets involved in here, so we can't go any further than that. And in terms of the width and everything, we were basically looking at phase one, which created the bikeway at a standard 10-foot wide bike path, and we were continuing that 10-foot wide on continuing east on that. So and looking at the close proximity in some of the trees, the very mature trees, obviously that's a big priority. We don't want to compromise the existing trees. So in certain areas, it might not be feasible to widen it, or we're looking at places where there aren't trees, of maybe realigning it a little bit so that we can get the little bit of width in there. So that was our thinking behind the widening it, and it is matching the existing the phase one. And to answer your question about smoothing it out, yeah, when we take out the existing path, it will be graded in such a way that will minimize any grading flooding issues or drainage issues that there might be there now. The cracking that you see in potholes, those would be you wouldn't see those. But again, it's only for the area that we're talking about. We don't have the funding to go all the way to, I think it's Stillwell, you said. So we did hear you about the condition of the path though, and we're doing as much as we can under this project, extending the bikeway reconstruction further than we were originally going to.
Okay, thank you.
Sure.
Yeah, because the walkway itself from White Plains Road to Stillwell, it does need to be rehabbed. And I know many areas that are not in your scope that have large potholes that are danger to anybody walking, rollerblading, riding, kid riding in a bicycle, elderly person in a wheelchair. There's many areas that are not in your scope that are a danger, and something needs to be done with the path in general. Wait, before I forget, the presentation, I was made aware that it was not sent to the community board office. So can you please send this presentation to the community board office, so that then we can then forward it to all the community board members and to any of the public that needs to would like to view it themselves too?
Yeah, I'll send that over to I sent a draft over to the borough office, to Mike, and I will send this one over to you actually tonight, so you'll have it, and then you can distribute it.
Thank you very much. I'm sorry about that. There were some last minute tweaks that were done which is why I don't even have the final copy yet. But as soon as I receive the final version presented tonight, I'll send it right over.
Okay, thank you. Now, Andy, do you have any questions? Okay. I saw Kevin's hand raised first. Kevin, you have a question? Just
how you
letting you
doing?
know, it's 2 minutes.
Hi, how you doing? If you can answer this question at the end, I'd appreciate it. But this is Parks Department design, or is the city design and construction also helping you formulate this plan? I just want to let you know that like this is one of the only connected east-west pathways in the Bronx. This small little section on Pelham Parkway is the bigger piece of what's been mentioned that goes from Pelham Bay Park, Mochulu Parkway to Van Cortlandt Park. It's the Mochulu Pelham Parkway, Greenway. A parkway and a greenway is for all users, for cyclists, for pedestrians, and for the public to use as an open space. I just want to keep that in mind as well. I don't know how wide you're going to make it, or if that's going to damage a lot of the parkland to do that. But I think it's important to keep both the pedestrians and the cyclists safe, even though there's some enforcement questions here about illegal use of some faster vehicles on this pathway. I think it should be maintained as it is, as a multi-vehicle, multi-use pathway with micro-mobility in mind. The last piece, let me just find out what I wrote down the bottom here, and I'll let you just go from there. The Tour de Bronx does use the parkway. We've been using the north side service road. Years back, we did use the pathway, the greenway itself. That's not a problem. I just want to mention that it is highly used in general. That's all. I guess I just wanted to mention those few things. I appreciate your time. Thank you. Any questions? No? Okay.
Is there a way that I'm a resident?
I will
Is
come
there a
back to
way-
you I will come back to you in just one moment. I see Roy has his hand up.
Yeah, thank you. Just give me 1 second to get my notes here. Okay, so I'm a cyclist. I live on City Island. I use the Pelham Greenway all the time. People have mentioned that the Greenway is part of the Bronx system, but what people may not realize, it's actually part of the East Coast Greenway, which is a national system that runs from Florida to Maine. If you go and look at the East Coast Greenway website, you'll see the Pelham Greenway is part of the route. That's how people get through New York City. Anyway, the pathway is too narrow to safely support the density of pedestrian and bicycle users. And this is exacerbated by the fact that the surface in many places is in poor condition. So, if you're on a bike, you're forced to ride sometimes on just a piece of the path, which is rideable, which is not broken up, which is not flooded, whatever. And that leads to conflicts between bicycles and pedestrians. And that's not good for it's not good for the bicyclists, and it's certainly not good for the pedestrians. I get what people are saying about losing any amount of green space. Every square inch of green space that we lose pains me. I'm totally there. But as I understand the plan, we're talking about a fairly small increase in the path width, I guess a couple of feet, and in some places not even that, as necessary to protect the trees. So I think that's a reasonable trade-off.
30 seconds.
Okay, the biggest problem is around the bus stops. That's where people naturally congregate. So when the plan gets nailed down for exactly where the path is going to be and how wide it's going to be, you should certainly provide in the area near the bus stops additional width to make sure that pedestrians and cyclists don't mix it up unsafely.
2 minutes.
And if I could just have a few more seconds. Yeah, if I could just have a few more seconds here. The last thing I wanted to mention was I get the people that are worried about motorcycles on the bike path. And the bottom line is they're not allowed on the bike path. They're breaking the law if there's motorcycles or motorized vehicles on the bike path. And
Thank you.
Yeah, and what needs to happen
Yeah.
there is NYPD needs to enforce that. Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, phone caller with the last two numbers, 37, that just spoke briefly a second ago.
Yes. Yes.
Can you identify
My,
yourself, please?
my name is Eileen. And I'm also concerned with the bikes that are coming across Wallace Avenue, the big motorbikes and coming near the benches, and the children are playing there, and it's a big concern, and I hope they do something. They should also, I'm agreeing that it should be enforced that they're not able to do that. There's a sign there, but they don't certainly don't follow it because it's still happening, and I think with this summer coming, it'll get worse, and I am afraid of getting hurt out there. I'm afraid, for the kids that are playing, and it just seems like it's not enforced, nothing's being done. So whatever you're creating there, I hope it doesn't make things worse, and I just think this should be called to your attention. I know it's been said already, but I'm very concerned. Are you going to close off Wallace between the north and south side with your construction to go on Wallace Avenue? Hello?
Just question?
Whether they're gonna close Wallace?
Yeah, they said they will.
The construction.
Yeah, as they do construction.
They're gonna have to, yeah. Yeah, Rucha, can you please
Wallace,
answer?
I'm sorry, this is Kevin. Wallace will not be, shouldn't be able to be, need to be shut down because we're starting, because Wallace, the crossover at Wallace, that work was done as part of phase 1. So our contract limits would start just east of that crossover. So the construction fence will probably go up right at that point, right at the edge of that.
There's some benches that where mostly men sit there. I call them the checkerboard benches. Is that going to be torn down, or are they going to keep that there, where the people can sit opposite each other, and it's like a table?
Yes, it's going to stay. That's basically the Wallace Avenue seating area, which was done in phase 1.
That's going to stay.
Yes.
Where they play checkers and. Oh, I think that's a good idea that they should stay because it's used very, very crowded, and so all those benches will stay.
Yes, this project is it starts to the east of that area.
Okay, and so I guess.
Eileen, your time's up. I'm sorry.
Yes. Okay. If I want to make any comments, is there an email or that I could any of the residents?
You can email the community board office.
Community board. And what's the website? How do you do that? What's the email then? The community board 11?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's it.
So what is their email? I don't know.
Call the board in the morning.
Yeah, call the board in the morning. They'll give you the right email to send it to.
What's the board phone number again, please?
Go on the website. Go on the website.
She's on the phone.
Oh, go on the website. Okay. I guess I was I just wanted to say my concern about the motorbikes and the e-scooters alongside the other people. Thank you
Roxanne
for
will
letting.
be in touch with you, and she'll give you the phone number and the email address.
The tree hugger.
Somebody will be in touch with me?
Yes.
Thank you, Eileen.
Okay, you got my phone number.
I saw your hand raised.
All right. Thank you.
Hi, yes, can you hear me?
This is Slater?
Yes, can you hear me?
Okay, yes.
Okay, hi, my name is Charlene. Rucha, I want to first start out by saying thank you for listening to our concerns as a community. What I will say is phase one does not fit into this community. It is a disaster because of all of the vagrants that sit and enjoy and do disgusting things over there. So that's part one. Part two, is there a way, and this may be for the Parks Department, is there an audit that's kept of the trees that are cut and replaced? Is there a website that we can look at so that we can make sure that our green stays green during this project?
That is a very good question, and I actually believe that there might be, but I'm gonna have to do a little bit of homework. And is it all right with you if I get back to the board office and they can disseminate the information if I
Of cour-
find something?
Of course, I'm just asking because I've noticed some trees down and they seemed like healthy trees, but I'm no tree doctor. The next thing that I want to point out is what everybody else has been saying. The e-bikes and the e-scooters are a hazard. And I fear that if you widen the trail, that they will become more of a hazard. I'm not a bike rider or an e-scooter rider or anything like that, but I do walk my 10-pound Shih Tzu. And when I tell you that we've almost gotten hit several times by these things, it's dangerous. And I'm done.
Thank you. Miguel, you had your hand raised?
I do. I was just wondering, first of all, if there will be signage letting everybody know that motorized vehicles are not allowed. I know that at several other parks there are. And secondly, I know it's an enforcement issue, but is that NYPD or is it parks? Because I've seen
It's Parks Department enforcement.
yeah, I've seen the parks people actually stop people on the scooters and stuff. So I didn't know if that was a joint thing or if one had more, what one had authority and the other didn't.
NYPD can also enforce our rules in parks. I'm sorry, if you don't, I'm sorry. I put the link to the NYC tree map in the chat. So we do have a tree map. I just want to make sure that it was active. I put it in the chat.
Thank you.
That's all I see. Janice? No, that's it. No more link. Huh? You got the link? The link is.
Can somebody explain what happens next?
Roxanne. Yes, so.
We don't have vote, but they didn't do the presentation.
Mike raised his hand, Ortiz. Ortiz, where?
Mike?
No, nope. Sorry. Go ahead. I apologize.
Yeah, there's so many on the screen here, it's hard to keep track. Okay, so, what's the next procedure of this?
Any motions, if any? Motions?
Because I can't hear, they didn't give us a presentation, so once we get the presentation, then have more.
Yeah, I think we need to table any motion
Okay,
to,
we need to get a presentation before we table any motions, okay?
And Mike, can you be willing to meet with Friends Palm Parkway residents to discuss any concerns? Not that we have much concerns, because obviously you did take into effect a lot of community input, which I do really appreciate that.
We would prefer to meet with the board.
No, but you met with them, but if we have some residents and we're not able to make it today.
no.
If the board wants to set that up, then we're okay with that.
Okay, thank you.
Ornella, do you have a question? Do you have a question concerning this project or something parks in general?
Yes, I wanted to see if, when are we going to be able to see the proposal and how long do we have to comment on it?
Yeah, that's, we were asking for the presentation was not sent to us. They had some last minute stuff that they were doing and some of their own people don't even have the presentation. So they're supposed to be sending the presentation to us. And then hopefully we'll get it dispersed to all those concerned.
Do you know how long do we have to comment on it?
No, we're not voting on it. Yeah.
Eventually.
Yeah, we're gonna eventually vote on it, but we're not voting on it today. because-
Right, but Ornella is asking, what's the time frame once we receive the presentation to comment?
To comment. Anybody from Parks can answer that?
We are, I mean, we were hoping, the presentation you saw today is the presentation we're putting forward. So we were kind of hoping to get a vote today. It's up to you guys, however, you want to see fit, but we can send the presentation over right away.
Yeah, no,
We can't.
for us to all be like trying to see things on the screen and, yeah, no, that can't happen today, no.
So baseline is Michael T's not open to any changes, because he's saying they're going to forward this presentation after this.
We put it forward to the board. We're looking for their, we're looking for your support behind this. So if you guys, if the board feels that they want to give us any comments or feedback, of course, we're open to it.
Have to be, because we don't have the presentation.
Can we vote on it at the
full board no, but meeting? We might still need time to look into it. It's the full board, it's just 2-minute gallery. Next part meeting.
To find out from Jeremy if we could do it at, vote on it a full board, but I mean, it's still.
We need time.
Yeah, we need time to.
You're also allowed to suggest
Parks
changes.
rushes.
Yeah.
Tomorrow, we have to have time to digest a very big project that's going to affect the future of Palm Park for decades. You can't just rubber stamp something because they're in a rush.
No, we don't want a rubber stamp. We don't want a rubber
That's
stamp.
what I'm saying.
That's why we want the presentation so we can properly examine it.
Right, and Debbie, if the board feels that they don't like the presentation, they could ask Parks to redesign it.
Right.
Okay, it's up to the board, not Parks.
Yeah, because there's
Because
some,
we-
there's some areas that just seem kind of questionable.
Right, the
that-
Putnam Trail was refused and Parks had to come back with better. They had to widen the trail that we requested.
Okay, so, that will be it now then, I guess, for this particular presentation. Anybody that's pertaining of the presentation, if you want to leave, I guess you're welcome to leave. But please make sure that the community board office does have this, presentation sent to us.
I'm sending it to Jeremy as we speak.
Thank you.
Okay, fine.
Okay, now we're gonna start with any old business. Anybody do you have old business?
Yeah, Zimmerman. Okay, we had a presentation last month regarding Zimmerman Playground, and when the reading is over, I was told, well, hopefully you'll get a bathroom. That's not part of my plan or the plan for the park, period. Any playground that has children, parents, anyone using it, any normal people use it, has to have a male and female bathroom, okay? I do not suggest that we go along unless they're gonna revamp the park house with a male and female bathroom and take care of what has to be taken care of, okay? These porta potties are horrid. Okay, they're disasters, if I can tell you. They're not being taken care of on a weekly basis, and they're horrible. We are finding needles, all kinds of things, clothes and everything in these bathrooms. Okay, these porta potties. Okay, so bathrooms are definitely, it's like a quality of life issue now. Okay?
I agree.
I'm not gonna accept the fact that you're gonna tell me after Mike said to me, we're gonna get you a bathroom. I said, I have a bathroom in my house. I'm talking about a bathroom in the playground where children don't have to go to the bathroom in between two cars, okay? Let this be a notice to the Parks Department. Get those bathrooms in there, get the park house renovated, do what you have to do. Because without that renovation of the park house, without the bathroom, we can't even have any programs in the area, okay? All right, so that's my spiel right now for tonight, okay?
And my spiel of the old business is Pelham Park was we were talking of Pelham Parkway. We need more PEP officers. We need more PEP officers because it's getting to the season that people are gonna be starting the barbecuing on the parkway. And something needs to be done.
Not only that, the gentleman just spoke about the vagrants and different things going on in the area. So if we have more policing, park policing, it would really help, okay?
That is first enforcement.
Yeah, we-
Oh, the police.
Okay. All right.
Anybody else from the board?
Not with old, I have no.
Anybody else? So we have anybody online of the board have any old business they would want to discuss?
I got a
No.
question.
Who's that?
Harry.
Harry. Who
Is it
controls?
old business or no business?
It's just a question.
Okay.
Who controls park enforcement?
Parks.
Department.
I'm saying, is Mike Ortiz part of he enforces that?
You would have to speak to the Parks Commissioner for that.
All right, thank you.
Okay. Now, new business.
No business is no business.
I'm sorry.
That's great. So for the PEP officers, I think the PEP officers are assigned now to the max. The problem is we don't have enough PEP officers. So I would like to request that CB 11, that the board send a letter to the mayor saying that we want a 1% of the total city budget for Parks Department. Because the only way we're gonna get adequate enforcement is if the Parks Department has the budget for it. They need to be budgeted at 1% of the total city budget, which is still less than other major cities in the United States.
Aren't they getting 1% now?
No,
I thought.
no, they're not.
Budget has been finalized yet, so it's not
I think it's
determined
like
yet.
0.5%
Okay.
in the proposed budget. And then, in terms of the Zimmerman bathrooms, we make sure that, Richie Torres representatives were at the meeting that was held where, and they have asked, Bronx Park East Community Association for a letter of need to demonstrate the need for the bathrooms, because they are pursuing federal funding.
Right.
So that they said there's no guarantee that they could get federal funding, but they are trying as a result of that presentation.
Okay. All right.
So maybe you could write a letter of support, Janice. Maybe you could send a letter of support, Janice, to
To Ricky.
Park, Zimmerman Park Playground.
If I gotta go to Washington, I'll do that.
Trust me, I will. So since I have old businesses, so just to clarify, there is no parks enforcement in Pelham Park because it's considered a greenway. And ideally, Greens has passive activity, but unfortunately, it's more than passive, there's active activity, including illegal barbecuing. So because Pelham Park is a greenway, it's not given adequate maintenance and no enforcement as a full-scale park would be given. But so parks have to decide, give us the maintenance and the enforcement for the active use or crack down on active use and make it passive use. It's up to them, but we can't have it both ways. A lot of people have active use, illegal barbecuing, e-scooters, parties with 50 people and all the party favors. Yeah, enforcement or eliminate that. They have to choose, but we've been for years, the damage on the parkway is almost irreversible.
Pelham Parkway is treated like a redheaded stepchild
Yeah.
because they're like, no,
It's a
it's
greenway,
it's
they say.
their
We're at
problem.
the bottom, it's the bottom.
PEP says it's NYPD says it's PEP.
But we need to get a clarification.
Yeah, We gotta
Okay.
definitely find out.
Clarification, who's doing what, okay?
But also for
Let's
property side, doing enforcement and maintenance or eliminate all the active use in the greenway. They have to decide.
Keep throwing that ball back and forth, okay?
Parks has their own stats when it comes to crimes. They have their own, because the PEPs put in their own stats.
Okay.
So you'll see the same stats like the police department, that Parks Department will have. And, you know, have your district manager request the stats for Community Board 11, and you'll see.
Okay, Tiz,
Felix, I want to thank you for taking care of the issue at Loretta Park the other day, but it is an ongoing issue. And the fact that there's no working bathroom in that park, do we know why the bathroom is being closed off and when it'll be fixed?
I can get back to you on that. I will get more information, so I will find out more. But I will definitely get back to you because I just took over the district a couple of weeks ago, but I will look into it definitely.
Right, I think I was your first email the other day.
Yes, you were.
It's nice to see you.
Same here.
And this trash wasn't picked up for 4 days in Pelham Parkway. We had trash, for 4 days overflowing, and I actually emptied out the trash can because it was unbearable.
Okay,
With
what's
Pelham
going
Parkway
on?
North and Holland Avenue.
Okay, what's going on with the trash pickup on Pelham Parkway? Hello?
I have pictures.
Whose purview is that?
who from Parks could speak on why trash was not picked up for 4 days?
4 days. Hello?
Let me look into that. I will find out why. I will talk to my supervisors on that. I'll get back to you on that.
And send somebody tomorrow, okay?
All right, no problem.
Thank you.
Do you have any questions, any new questions, Parks related?
Any board members, any guests? Okay. Right? Sit down.
So, all right, so I guess we're gonna call the meeting adjourned. The time now is 8:25 and the meeting is now adjourned. Excuse me. Was there anybody in the gallery online that that needed to speak of any new business? New or old? No? Okay, now we'll call the meeting adjourned at 8:25. Thank you so much.
Everyone.
Good night. Good night.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good night.
Have a good night.
Good night.
I emailed him within a half hour. Yeah.
Well,
Hey, it's over.
Are we ending this, Deb?
Yeah,
The mic's open. The mic's open.
Oh,
Thank you.
stop recording?
Yeah.
All right.